Silly boo, everybody, and welcome back to the HabWrap, your friendliest and funniest source for anything and everything Montreal Canadiens. I am your host, Harry Rice, and my God, the streak has been broken. What, 6 games without a win? It has finally been broken, and what a team to do it against. The division rival, arguably our biggest rival. We faced the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. Montreal, what a game, what a performance, what a second period. We're going to talk about all of that, of course. Last episode of the show, I had an insane near 20-minute rant on the Canadiens. And it wouldn't happen if they play the way they played tonight. I really hope they keep this up. I really hope that they do indeed keep this up. So, we've got to talk about the game, but of course beforehand, we got to talk about the lines. You can't have a hockey game without lines, so let's do it. The open lines for the Canadiens were Caulfield, Suzuki, and Bolduc. Slavkovsky, Kapanen, Demidov, Florian Xhekaj, Evans Anderson, and Davidson, Veleno, Gallagher. That is right. Florian Xhekaj has been called up to the big leagues. He got the call yesterday. They were talking about it on the broadcast. Apparently, he had gotten a few calls, but he ignored them at first because he was apparently a little groggy. But then the our AHL head coach, Pascal Vincent, called him, and that's when they informed him, hey, answer our calls. You just got called up, buddy. And, yeah, he was out there tonight. I thought he had a great game in advance. Before we get into anything specific, he was all over the ice. He was throwing the body, made a couple plays. We're going to get into something that happened in the third period that I was really, really excited to see. And the fourth line was Davidson, Veleno, Gallagher. I think I said it already, but just in case, you never know. Matheson, Dobson, Struble, Hudson, and Arbor Xhekaj and Carrier were on the blue line. Jakub Dobeš gets the start net for the Canadiens, and Samuel Montembeault will back him up. And if it's anything the way tonight's game went, it's looking like it might end up being that way for a little bit longer. The opening lines for the Maple Leafs were Nylander, Tavares, Yarncroc, McMahon, Domi, Robertson, Lorentz, Lawton, Cowan, and Blais, Habs legend Sammy Blais, Joshua, and Michelli. Riley, Ekman Larson, Benoit, McCabe, and Mermis Stetcher were on the blue line. Joseph Woll gets the start in his second game back from injury, second NHL game. He was playing a bit with the Marlies to rehab his injury, but second game back with the big boys in Toronto. And Dennis Hildeby backs him up with Anthony Stolarz currently being injured. So before the game, of course, like I said, Florian Xhekaj gets called up. He makes his NHL debut tonight in the Bell Center on a Saturday night against the Maple Leafs. Aside from the Stanley Cup Finals, maybe, is there a better way to debut as a Montreal Canadien? My God, absolute beauty. Of course, he did the pregame skate. He did it helmetless, as every rookie should. And there's something I do need to mention, but I feel like I'm going to wait on that until after the game because it's something that only started coming out right when the game was ending. So yeah, we will talk about that in just it actually broke during the third period, but regardless, we'll talk about it later into the broadcast. I like being very professional with this show in case you can't tell, which is why I say that as often as I do. I'm pretty sure it's the first time I refer to this as a broadcast, but just stick with it, will you? All right. Hudson gets hit from behind, not too hard, but Slav and Bolduc get in there to defend him early. Flo's first shift, he has a good hit on Troy Stecher in the corner, and he then has a hit moments later. Lorentz gets the first shot on net. Dobeš makes the save. So the theme of the Canadiens allowing a goal in the first shot, very up and down recently. does not happen this time, thankfully. Demidov sets up Suzuki in the slot, but that gets blocked by Morgan Riley. Arbor is in the scrum with, as I put, Hoshua, but it's Joshua. After a really good wrap try for Dakota, that's stopped by Dobesh. I put the Sens, but that's because I was watching the Rocket and the Belleville Senators earlier today. I meant the Leafs. Lead the shots 3-0 5 minutes in. Xhekaj, should clarify, Arbor Xhekaj, with a big hit on Sammy Blais along the boards. He then hits him on the way to the bench. Again, you love to see that. Habs looked really confident despite trailing in the shots. For a good part of the first period, they had a confidence to them that it didn't feel like, okay, well, if they get scored on, yeah, that's game over, they're going to slog. It felt like had they been scored on first, they would have gone out and said, all right, let's just go get 2 in response. Let's go do that, boys. Hell yeah. It felt there was a confidence to them tonight, and I think a lot of that was due to the fact that they've got a guy like Florian in the lineup now, and it kind of rejuvenated the team, make them think, okay, we got this kid. He can defend us. He can hit. Let's go play our game. We can be protected a little bit, you know. You have Florian, Arbor, Andy, and Struble who are all willing to fight. Something about having all of those guys in the lineup at the same time, I feel like, was very, very calming to the offensive players, the Caulfields, the Suzukis, the Demidovs, the Hudsons, and to a lesser extent the Dobsons. Because Dobson can kind of defend himself a little bit. Can't really fight too well, but he can defend himself. He can throw the body around a little bit. It helped give them a bit more confidence than I think they've had in recent over the past two so weeks, especially after that last game. My God, that last game against Washington. Jesus, as soon as Wilson laid that headshot on Evans, it felt like the game entirely shifted for Washington. By the way, I should say, Evans is playing. Turns out he actually said he felt pretty okay after the headshot. He was pulled for precautionary reasons. They did, funny enough, when they called up Florian at first, they had originally posted that they sent down Joshua Waugh as well, but then they deleted that and updated it to just call up Florian because they weren't sure if Evans was going to go tonight, and if they weren't, you would assume Florian would have also stepped up on the penalty kill, straight up replaced him at the center spot, because he, I believe, is playing center when he's down in Laval, and Waugh probably would have stepped in on the third line, where he's been playing the past couple games during his call-up, so it is good to see Evans is fine, he's safe, he's willing to play, able to play, good to see. Leafs get a couple more chances. Dobesh makes some easy pad stops. Veleno surprisingly gets the Habs' first shot 7 minutes in. Him and Riley then shove each other behind the net. There's a good rush for the Habs, broken up by a stick. Lawton then shoves Slavkovsky after the whistle. There's no call. That's very surprising. Gallagher has a rush, long-range chance. That gets stopped. There's another rush for Gallagher moments later. That's also stopped. Carrier slashes OEL actually right before that second Gallagher chance. OEL talked with Gallagher after the whistle. OEL was very much a pest tonight. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who, no surprise, has been with Vancouver and Florida. He very much not plays on the edge, but he's not afraid to play a way that gets under your skin and makes you want to see him get injured. if that makes any sense, which I think you guys get exactly how I mean. Bolduc has a hit on Nylander at the benches. Bolduc gets punched in the face. There's no call on Nylander. Is it William Nylander or Nylander? I think it's Nylander, right? But yeah. Lorentz rushes. Dobesh has a glove. And we got a bit of a scrum. Anderson and Struble both in on OEL after him and Florian shove. Don't hit the rookie, even if the rookie wants to hit. Struble, it seemed, was called for a double minor. Yes, he was. He was called. Actually, him and OEL both got called. So it was Struble and OEL for roughing on each other, and Struble was given an extra 2 for roughing Steven Lorentz. So just about 9:39. Not looking like it's going to be a very well-called game, and for parts of it, it wasn't. Other parts, it was okay. You know, the Gallagher, the missed slash there, the missed punch by Nylander, and then they call this a little bit iffy, but yeah. There's a shot, Leafs press, there's a shot off the post. Andy clears that right out. Josh Anderson had a very good game tonight. I don't know if it's just the fact that he has another guy who can hit on his line that makes him think, all right, you know what, I'm going to hit. I'm going to go out. I'm going to play the way I want to play. This guy wants to hit. Let's both do it. I don't know if it's just something about having Florian on his line that gave him confidence, or it's just a game where, because Anderson loves playing against the Leafs. Genuinely, I think he scored in like 5 of the last 7 meetings between Montreal and Toronto. I swear, Anderson plays the Leafs better than anyone else. Not like anyone else in the league, but like Anderson, the games he plays against Toronto are better than any other ones he plays for some reason. Carrier clears off a board play. Habs clear again. The Habs are 1 for 1 on the penalty kill. They get a rush going, and they score. Lane Hutson, what a one-timer as he joins the play. He comes up in the rush, gets a pass from Suzuki, and a beauty of a goal for his 3rd of the year. So he is already halfway to his goal total from last year, just 21 games into the season, when it took him, 20 games last year to get his first goal of the season, I think. Hudson's got an outside chance of hitting 10 goals, and I'd like to see him do that. I think the kid's going to develop his shot well, and if he gets 10 goals, I think that's going to motivate him a little more. So Hudson scores with 8:49 left in the game. Sorry. Yeah, in the third period, just nothing happened up to this point in the third. No, 8:49 left in the first period. He gets that from Suzuki and Caulfield. Habs press, they've gotten control, and they score again a minute 22 later at 13:33. Noah Dobson, what a slapper from the point with a pure screen in front of Joseph Woll. Noah Dobson gets his 2nd of the year. Just great cycling. Demidov, great job to set that up. Matheson was cycling around the net. He was going for a skate himself. Matheson ends up setting up Dobson for that. Dobson, like I said, scores from Matheson and Demidov at 13:33. So the Canadiens, a little bit of a cushion with a 2-goal lead. We'll see if they can keep hold of it and what comes of it. Habs press. There's a Hudson shot into a leg. Habs then go to a power play. Moments later, a trip on Gallagher by Nylander. That's called with about 5:30 left. Leafs clear after the Habs try to cycle. Dobesh comes way out to play the puck. Love seeing that. I don't know who it was I was watching that mentioned when the goalie's coming out to play the puck, that's usually indicative of how confident they are or how comfortable they are. But Dobesh came way out to play it. I thought Dobesh, for the most part, was very comfortable in net tonight, and I thought he had a really good game and a great rebound finally after the last, 5-6 games he's played, all being under 900 save percentage. All like 4 goals against average, it feels like. It was really good to see one of the Canadiens goaltenders settle into the net and just play. Essentially, just play. First unit presses, Bolduc. Bolduc's had a tough time of it. I think it's 1 assist at home this year. He plays much better on the road. He does not play good at home at all. He the Habs cycle and he gets it. He passes it back in the slot and the Leafs just get a clear. God, I want to like Zach Bolduc, but Bolduc seems to play great on the road. But when he's at home, don't expect him to score. I don't know if it's because he's from Quebec, so it's something about playing in the Bell Center. It just rattles him a little bit. I don't know if it's that. But yeah, just Bolduc does not play well at home, unfortunately. The second unit tried to get something. Leafs clear late, though. The Habs are 0 for 1 on the power play tonight. Habs press. There's a Matheson shot that's held. Mermes, who had taken a shot deflection to the throat, he was out at this point. Thankfully, he would return, so it wasn't as bad as it might have seemed. It was definitely not a Charlie McAvoy type situation. We would almost sort of get one of those later in the game. We'll talk about it. Thankfully not as serious, but hopefully not at least. But we'll get there when we get there. Leafs press, but there's good sticks for the Canadiens to prevent any real dangerous scoring chances. Veleno on the fourth line, a puck battle, not afraid to hit Robertson in the corner. I thought Veleno had a very good shift here. Veleno not afraid to get physical, was engaged in the puck battles, setting guys up. It's honestly a shame they didn't score here, because I think they really deserved a goal, did the fourth line tonight, and especially Veleno. I think Veleno showed a bit more swagger than usual, especially after he scored last game against Washington. I liked Veleno on the fourth line tonight, and after what might be happening tomorrow, potentially, which if there is, by the way, if you're watching on the YouTube channel, there will probably be a short for it. I was actually considering doing a short yesterday when Florian got called up, but I did not, obviously, because there's no short of me talking about Florian Xhekaj. But if what is potentially going to happen tomorrow happens, then I'll do a short. I'm not going to come up with a video. It's not a major thing, but like I said, we'll get to that after the game. You got to keep the viewers engaged somehow. 16 minutes in, we're not even done with the first period. Speaking of which, seconds left. Habs press. Slav finds Demidov in the slot, and the shot is just wide. Habs almost made it 3-0, but regardless, the Habs with a 2-0 lead after the first, and the shots 11-9 for Toronto. In the second period, Bolduc has a one-timer that's gloved in the opening minute. Suzuki gets a one-timer. That's really, really good. That was a great stop by Joseph Woll. It's so weird. Woll wasn't horrible tonight, except on one goal, which is the one that gets him pulled. Spoiler. He made some really good stops. I don't know what it was. Woll made some good stops, and there probably was 2 goals that he'd want back. That Hudson goal was a really good one. The first Dobson one he probably wants just because he wants the net cleared in front of him, because he probably could have gotten that one. And we'll talk about the goal that's about to happen in a moment. But yeah, Suzuki has the one-timer that stopped. There's a Dobson shot that just goes wide. The Habs were buzzing early here. Leafs get a look. There's a good pad stop by Dobesh. And Montreal scores. A good rush the other way. It started with some Slavkovsky board play. That ends up leading to Demidov faking out Woll hard style, making him think he's going to take the shot. He doesn't. He passes to a rushing in Noah Dobson, who slaps it wide open left side. He's not going to miss that. His second of the night. It's 3-0 Montreal. All 3 goals at this point have come from defensemen. So, a fantastic night if you're a Canadiens defenseman, or a Canadiens defenseman that starts, that ends with a son in your name. So, yeah. Noah Dobson, like I said, gets that from Demidov and Slavkovsky. That's just 4 minutes and 9 seconds in to the second period. Habs ice the puck seconds off the next face-off. Xhekaj and Joshua shoved a little bit off of the next draw. They would not engage. I should say that was Florian as well, not Arbor. I'm gonna have to get used to saying differentiating between Flo and Arbor when they're both in the lineup. But regardless, they did not go. Joshua would sort of go with Arbor later in the game. We'll talk about that though. Robertson and Kapanen shoved at the benches. Habs had full momentum at this point, and like even my notes are not doing justice just how good the Canadiens were in this second period. Habs cycle. Matheson had a hell of a game at this point. He was good at setting things up, and he's gonna draw a penalty. Habs can't get a shot, but they pressed, I want to say, for a good 30 seconds. They were really good at pressing, but Matheson eats a slash in the hands from John Tavares. That's called at 6:46, but basically 7 minutes in. It's called at 6:46 of the second period. 7 minutes in. Habs cycle. They're not moving much, but they are getting passes up. There's actually some good setup. Bolduc in the slot, and that is saved. Bolduc would love to get his first at home, and it sucks that didn't go in because that would have been awesome. Second unit comes out. Despite a Leafs clear, Slavkovsky bursts in as they think he's going to pass it back. He breaks in, but a good stop by Joseph Woll. That was really impressive. Dobson set up to Slav, but the shot deflects out of play. Habs look good, but they can't score, unfortunately. The Habs are 0 for 2. And there's a delayed penalty. Habs are in the zone for 1:20 straight. Great setup, some looks. Suzuki has a one-timer. That is somehow stopped by Joseph Woll. That's a really good one there. Canadians just controlling, borderline dominating. It's genuinely a surprise how this game was not 6-0 Montreal at this stage in the game. They probably should have been up 6-0. If the Leafs had a lesser goalie in net, it would have been game over, not even 7 minutes into the second period. Completely game over, I should say, it would have been. The play finally stops after Joseph Woll ends up losing his helmet. So the Habs back to the power play. Marty calls his timeout because the entire first unit were the ones that were just pressuring. McCabe is called for a hooking, but he had also taken a puck to the chin. So Cowan serves the penalty as McCabe, I thought, was just going to go for repairs, but he would not return. So, McCabe was out of the game, so the Leafs are losing one of their better, not just defensemen, but defenders. I'm pretty sure he plays top unit on that penalty kill. Any Leafs fans listening can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he plays top unit on that penalty kill. First unit doesn't get much press. Leafs clear. Second unit, Suzuki was getting double shifted at this point. Dobson to a wide open Suzuki, but the pass just not on the tape. That sucks. Dobson to Slavkovsky, centers to Demidov. Shot, Kapanen gets the rebound. He pokes, but Woll makes the saves. Woll is the reason this game is still only 3-0 at this point. Woll had a very good second period until he didn't. Leafs clear off the next draw. Habs somehow are 0 for 3 on the power play tonight, and I say that because the shots in the second period with 8 minutes left are 12-1 for the Canadiens. The Leafs have one shot in 12 minutes of play. The Canadiens are averaging a shot per minute at this point themselves. Habs press, there's a couple more looks for the third line. They had a good chance there. And the Canadiens score just a moment later. Josh Anderson gets a centering feed from who else? The rookie, Florian Xhekaj. Anderson, he's just in the right circle. And yeah, it's just a shot over the shoulder of Joseph Woll. He actually gets that from right behind the net, comes out to the right circle, just shoots it over the shoulder. Woll has to have that one, and with 6:49 left in the second, it's a 4-0 Canadiens lead. And one thing I noticed is, unfortunately, they actually took an assist away from Alex Carrier on that goal. Carrier, who I think came into tonight with a 3-game pointless drought, I should say. Unfortunately, they took away his assist, so now it's just Josh Anderson from Florian Xhekaj. Florian Xhekaj, by the way, point per game in the National Hockey League. The shots were 16-1 for the Canadiens after that goal, by the way. There's some Ole chance with 6 minutes left. Dobesh finally makes his first save in forever. Leafs press, there's a Riley shot over the net. Habs nearly looked the other way. Florian has a good hit along the boards on Dakota Mermis. Leafs get some momentum, and they end up scoring with just about 241 left in the second period. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he scores with traffic in front. Dobesh, it seemed like he could still see the puck, but I don't think he could. Either way, he's definitely not Carey Price. He's not going to make that save. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with his just his third of the year. He scores from Cowan and Nylander, who's already at 19 assists. Nylander doing a good job setting everything up there. Habs then get called for too many men with 1:47 left. Suzuki way too premature to jump on the ice during a line change, but you know what? Hey, it shows that it shows that he's good. It shows that he's fine playing. He wants to play more. Just a little bit too ahead of himself, really, unfortunately. Leafs do press. No good comes out of that. Habs end up clearing at center ice. Leafs try to set up. Habs are speedy to stay with them. Habs clear with seconds left. The Leafs have roughly 10 seconds of power play time to start the third period. So, the shots are 26-17 for the Canadiens. In that period, the shots were 17-6 for the Maple Leafs. So the Maple Leafs did make it look somewhat okay by the end of the second, but a majority of those shots coming from Montreal. Yeah, the Habs just owned that second period, and speaking of, Habs have a 4-1 lead. We'll see what they can do in the third period. Leafs win the draw in their own zone. Habs are 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. 10 seconds. Unless you're getting a face-off and a breakaway right off the draw, they probably weren't going to score there. So, Habs are 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. In the opening minute still, Caulfield gets on a break. He sees Benoit Simon about to poke it. He gets a slapper off, but that gets stopped. Caulfield, I would have loved to see him... Would have loved to see him score on that. Oh, I should probably have mentioned, I somehow didn't. After that Josh Anderson goal, Joseph Woll is out. Dennis Hildeby comes in. I didn't even put it in my notes. That's how much excitement I had. That holy shit, Stone Anderson has scored. Stone Anderson gets a goal. So Hildeby had come in at that point. I think he faced one shot in the last 4 minutes. When he went in. Leafs start to press. Habs doing the best to hold them off. There's a shot tipped by Cowan. That goes off the post. That was close. Leafs press, but there's a good pair of stops for Dobesh. He was pretty good, actually, tonight. This is hope. Fingers crossed. Habs ice a puck 8 minutes in. Both teams not getting into the extra gear here. There really was not a lot of action, if you will, in this game. Cowan off a strip, he gets a chance backhand, that's high of the net. He gets another look moments later, but Dobesh pokes that one before he can get the shot off. Leafs rush in transition off of a steal. Cowan gets a hat trick of chances in the third. Somehow none of them get on net. Cowan had a good third period. He was trying to get the Leafs back in it. I thought Cowan had a good game overall. Caulfield gets hit at center ice. Not a hard hit, but enough to knock him down. Both teams press. Flo and Arbor got a few shifts together. That was pretty cool to see. And here we go. During a fourth line shift, Mermis shoves Gallagher into the net. We got a scrum. Lawton ends up cheap shotting Jared Davidson as someone was also grabbing Davidson. Struble was a bit late to get in there. And of course, Arbor's watching from the benches. The Leafs are only going to do this when Arbor and Flo are not on the ice. It's clear Arbor wanted somebody, and he would get somebody a little bit later, but we'll get into that soon. Gallagher and Mermis both get 2 for roughing. Surprisingly, those are the only penalties. So we go 4-on-4 for 2 minutes. Suzuki has a near 2-on-1, but he's a bit slow, unfortunately. I think that was sort of towards the end of a shift anyways. Habs do control. Caulfield and Hudson, good passing together. Demidov and Kapanen then look. Cappy pokes at the puck while Hildeby covers, and he gets a bit of a shove. Cowan gets a look, but that's in and out of Dobesh's glove. The other way, OEL then shoves Kapanen from behind. That was a bit dangerous. OEL thankfully was the one that looked hurt there. Kapanen was slow to get up though because if I heard the announcers correctly, it's because he had lost a skate blade. And on the next shift for the third line, here we go. Andy pokes at a puck. We got a bit of a scrum. And right in front of the net, Florian Xhekaj and Dakota Mermis. So Florian in his first NHL game, his first point, and his first National Hockey League fight. As soon as they both drop the gloves, haymakers at the same damn time. It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots with Florian and Mermis. A fantastic tilt. Florian bloodies up Mermis. Neither man go down. At some point, Florian hits Mermis, and the refs say, "All right, yeah, come on, that's enough." Neither man go down. I would give the edge to Florian though, just because he does bloody up Mermis in the end. That's got to be up there so far for tilt of the year. I know we also saw Tom Wilson and Curtis Douglas go at it in the Lightning and Capitals game. That also happened tonight. God damn, that Xhekaj and Mermis fight has to be fight of the month at the very least. I don't think they do fight of the month, but if they did, that would be a contender. Leafs end up with a power play out of all that. So what it is Xhekaj and Mermis both get 5 for fighting. Obviously, that's understandable. Florian gets 2 for slashing Dennis Hildeby as well. I actually didn't see where that happened. I don't know if they showed it on the broadcast and I just somehow missed it. But yeah, Florian also got an extra 2 out of that, which I guess fair enough. Hildeby goes to the bench. Wait, sorry, what? Yeah, with 5 minutes left, Dennis Hildeby gets pulled. Actually, just under 5. Actually, 5.5 minutes left, basically. That's after a Habs clear. And the Leafs end up scoring. William Nylander just beats Dobeš with 5 minutes left. It's actually 5:05 left. But yeah, Nylander, he just puts a shot up top, up high on Dobeš. He does seem to have a bit of an issue with that. Hopefully he can recover that and figure out how to make glove stops up high. But Nylander gets that one, his 10th of the year already, so he's been pretty good for the Leafs. He scores from Riley and Matthias Maccelli, who was playing 4th-line minutes tonight. I have no clue how he's on the power play. I get he's a good playmaker, but just play him in the lineup. Don't put him in a grinding role, whatever. Habs are... I put 3 for 4 on the penalty kill tonight. I don't know if that's right, but I feel like it is. But if it's not, then we're 2 for 3 on the penalty kill tonight. Xhekaj's stick then gets slashed out of his hand. There's no call. Habs end up icing it moments later. Hildeby's pulled again with 4 minutes left. Kapanen gets held as he looked for the empty net. There's no call. Habs press again, trying to find the empty net. 1 for neutral. It's down and just off the side of the net. It was rolling and it just hit the side. Almost went in. But it doesn't matter because with 2:10 left, the Habs score the empty net goal. Josh Anderson from his own zone. He gets that one, his 5th of the year, 2nd of the night. He scores from Matheson and Evans to give the Habs the 3-goal lead, but to get his 2nd of the night. Dobson was out there with the first line when the Leafs first pulled the goalie, and they started to bring up that Dobson could get the hat trick. He would be the first Canadiens defenseman to get a hat trick against the Maple Leafs, and I think they specified on Saturday night. Since I don't even remember the name, but he would be the first one to do it since 1917. That is right. I think it might just be blue liner to get a hat trick against the Leafs for the Canadiens, but regardless if it's against the Leafs or against the Leafs on Saturday night, just absolutely insane that it's been that long. So unfortunately Dobson doesn't get it though. But regardless, it technically is a Sun 5-goal game because you got Hudson with the first one, you got Dobson with the next 2, and Anderson with the next 2. It's a Sun 5-goal game. Habs have the 3-goal advantage. Leafs try to get something, but the Habs just pin the puck against the wall. They run the clock out. And, oh shit, here we go. Right at the final buzzer, we got some shit disturbing going on. Joshua hits Xhekaj shoulder to shoulder. He hits Arbor, I should say. And then he turns his back on Arbor, who ties him up, starts throwing hands at him. So they kind of start fighting. Lawton ends up on top of Jaden Struble. Lorentz is out there. Kapanen eats a couple cheap shots. Refs finally end up getting control of it. Xhekaj trying to get at another guy who's cheap shotting Kapanen. It's pandemonium at the final whistle. The penalties. Yes, there are penalties out of this at the end of the game. Struble, Xhekaj, Joshua, and Lorentz all get 10-minute misconducts. No fucking clue how that works. I don't know if they actually have to serve those at the beginning of their next game. I don't know if it's just basically cosmetics of, hey, Xhekaj, you went from 35 pims, now you've got 45. I don't know how that handles, but yeah, either way, all those guys get penalties right at the end of the game. And yeah, the refs do end up controlling it. They literally just push the Leafs away. Go, get out of here. They do. Habs win it 5-2 in regulation. The final shots, 29-26 for Montreal. The shots in the period were 9-6 for Toronto. So, again, not a ton of shots one way or the other. So, the Canadiens, again, with a huge rebound game. One that they really needed after the last 6 games that they've lost in a row. Thankfully not 37. If you know the reference, I love you. Yeah, thankfully, finally snapping the losing streak. And what a way to do it against your arguably biggest rival. Your definitely biggest Canadian rival, though I don't know, Ottawa, if they're good like people think they are, shit, maybe they might take over Toronto for a couple of years if the Leafs end up going on a bit of a downswing. But regardless, the Leafs definitely one of our biggest rivals. I think everybody can at least agree on that much. Yeah, the Canadiens with a huge win. We're going to do the stats, but first, we actually have something to talk about because there's the possibility that the Canadiens sign Alexander Texier. Alexander Texier, who is a free agent tomorrow. His contract is getting bought out by the St. Louis Blues. Texier's played 240 NHL games. He's had 2 10-goal seasons. He's had a 30-point season. He ended up in Columbus, in St. Louis, from they basically just wanted to get out of his contract. I think they traded his rights. He signed a 3-year deal with St. Louis, but it just has not worked out. He's actually from France, is Texier. I don't think he's the first French hockey player from France. I think he's one of the first. But yeah, Texier. Apparently the Canadiens are the favorite right now. They're considered the favorite to sign Texier. The guess is that he probably signs a league minimum deal. Maybe it's a 2-way deal, but I assume he signs a 2-way deal. He signs a league minimum deal, and he just probably replaces Jared Davidson, I'd imagine. I don't think they like having Davidson on the fourth line when he's still young enough that he can really profit off of getting top line ice time in Laval. So I think they want to do that. Sign Texier, who literally plays the left wing position. So I think it's kind of clear that that's probably why they're signing him. So you get Davidson down in the AHL. You get a guy who does have NHL experience. I believe he does play a little bit of penalty killing time. He does play a little bit of penalty kill, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah. Texier, if we sign him, look out, because the game against Utah, which is only going to be on Wednesday, that's right, we'll do the recap for the rest of the games for the month now, but we've got the game against Utah on Wednesday. Look out, because if I mention Texier's name, then you'll know that we signed him. And also you'll know if we signed him if you're listening on YouTube, and I do a video, or more than likely just a short, just talking about that, hey, Alex Texier has signed with the Montreal Canadiens. So yeah, as for the Canadiens, the rest of the month, how things are going to go is as follows. So again, I mentioned that our next game is Wednesday against the Utah Mammoth. That's actually a late start. That's a 9:30 p.m. start time, so very good chance that we might not upload that until Thursday morning or afternoon. Yeah, because by the time that game finishes, it's going to be about midnight anyways, so like I said, we might just wait to recap that the next morning. However, the next two will probably be released early, considering it's a back-to-back. We are playing the Vegas Golden Knights on Friday. That is a 4 p.m. start. We are in Vegas. And then it is November 29th, a 3 p.m. start against the Colorado Avalanche. We are in Colorado. And then why not the next two games as well? We're the 2nd and the 3rd of December. We are back at home for a 2-game homestand. We play Ottawa on the 2nd and Winnipeg on the 3rd. So next 5 games, all against viable potential playoff teams. So we'll see if we can go at least 500 there. Those should be very interesting games. We'll see for sure. We'll see if Texier is a Montreal Canadien by them, or if he just doesn't go to us. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So yeah, I think it's time we get into the stats and we get out of here. I do believe that is probably what we should do. All right, so the Montreal Canadiens, big Dick Nick Suzuki, the captain, leads the team with 5 goals, 18 assists, 23 points. Cole Caulfield's got 13 goals, 9 assists, 22 points. He is also rocking a 4-game point streak now. Lane Hutson's got 3 goals, 15 assists, 18 points, as well as 4 points in his last 3 games. Ivan Demidov's got 4 goals, 13 assists, 17 points. He is rocking a 3-game assist streak with 4 assists in that time. Noah Dobson with 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points, 15 points. Yeah, 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points, with 4 of those in his last 3 games. Mike Matheson, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points, 5 of those in his last 3 games. Alex Newhook, who's unfortunately hurt, 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points. Oliver Kapanen and Juraj Slafkovsky, each with 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points. Brendan Gallagher with a goal and 8 assists for 9 points. Josh Anderson, 5 goals, 3 assists, 8 points. Don't look now, Andy's got 3 goals in the last 4 games. Kirby Dach, who is unfortunately still hurt, 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points. Zach Bolduc, 4 goals, 3 assists, 7 points. Jake Evans with the opposite of that, 3 goals, 4 assists, 7 points. Alexandre Carrier with a goal and 6 assists, 7 points. Jaden Struble with 4 assists. Caden Gooley, who is unfortunately still hurt, with a goal and an assist for 2 points. Joe Veleno, hey, he's finally got a goal. Arber Xhekaj, Patrick Laine, who is unfortunately still hurt, and Florian Xhekaj, all with an assist. Arber Xhekaj, who is also rocking now an 18-game pointless drought. Absolutely insane. Speaking of Arber Xhekaj, he leads the team with 3 fights. Jaden Strubel's got 2. Caden Gooley, Joe Veleno, and Florian Xhekaj all have a fight as well each. So that is going to do it for today's episode of the HabWrap. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you are on YouTube, at least. If you're on Spotify, don't forget to hit that follow button, I believe it is, or Amazon, wherever the hell you're listening to this. Yeah. Don't forget as well to share with your friends, your family, anyone who thinks might enjoy listening to some fat kid from Quebec talk about the Montreal Canadiens for 30 to 40 minutes after every game. Yeah, don't forget to share with people who just might like a hockey podcast and are looking for a Canadiens podcast, or you got a Canadiens fan who might enjoy listening to any different types of opinions that there are for the Canadiens. Yeah. Whatever, if you want to share, appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching. And always, remember, no matter how good we were last year, how good we are like this year, or how good we'll be in the future, go Habs go, Adam Montreal, and say with me everybody, Celebrate!